We start with a story we broke a long time ago. Today, 10 new charges announced just this week means 70 people have now been charged in the massive Feeding Our Future case. In the time since we first broke the story in 2022, this has become one of the largest pandemic fraud cases in the United States. And prosecutors say a woman named Amy Bach, Feeding Our Future's founder and executive director, is at the center of it all. Well, now she's telling her version of the story. Lou's been following this one since the beginning, and he joins us now with this latest.
Jana, the criminal cases are ongoing in federal court, but there's also a civil lawsuit in Ramsey County where the Minnesota Department of Education is suing Feeding Our Future and Amy Bach. And Bach is now making some very bold accusations against MDE.
70 people are charged in connection to the Feeding Our Future case, in which federal prosecutors say the defendants stole $250 million that was meant to feed children during the COVID-19 pandemic while they weren't in school.
The largest pandemic fraud in the United States.
The Minnesota Department of Education was tasked with overseeing the meal program locally, sending reimbursement payments to nonprofits like Feeding Our Future, which sponsored the individual meal sites. Prior to federal agents raiding Feeding Our Future's offices, MDE tried to stop Feeding Our Future from sponsoring more sites, which led to the nonprofit suing MDE and convincing a judge to side with them. After Feeding Our Future executive director Amy Bach and dozens of others were charged, MDE sued them back, alleging abusive process, saying Feeding Our Future's lawsuit was intended to allow them to continue committing fraud. Finally, Bach's side of the story in a new court document responding to MDE. In it, she claims MDE ignored Bach's concerns about potential fraud, citing that she flagged the House of Refuge to MDE for requesting an excessive payment. House of Refuge leader Sharon Ross has since pleaded guilty.
Just wondering how you got caught up in this, Sharon.
Bach also claims MDE lied to the FBI by claiming there was no food being served at Feeding Our Future sites. Bach also claims MDE used burner phones, deleted and hid documents, and used other tactics to prevent Feeding Our Future from getting info from MDE for its lawsuit. In a statement to KARE 11 News, Bach wrote in part, "It is particularly concerning that some of the MDE people the federal agents are talking to are the same people we have evidence hiding and destroying evidence." Bach is now asking for a jury trial in the civil case, making a counterclaim against MDE, alleging intentional and negligent infliction of emotional distress and other claims.
Now, MDE has responded to this latest twist by saying Ms. Bach's recent legal claims are simply the latest example of her abusing the court system to deflect attention from her own misconduct. Our attorneys have moved to dismiss her claims, and we feel confident the Attorney General's office will be successful. Now, Amy will be back in federal court for her criminal case on March 5th. That will be for like a motions hearing. Her trial date still has not been set, so that one could have a long way to go.
And so in this case, this civil case, if it's not dismissed, and let's just fantasize that it did happen, would that have to wait until that criminal case went?
Not necessarily. Amy Bach is asking for a jury trial in Ramsey County on that case as well. She made a bunch of counterclaims alleging emotional distress and various other things by MDE.
A lot to keep up with. We appreciate you doing so for 2 entire years. Thanks so much, Lou.